Hi, my name is Chris, and this is Badger Does It. For those of you who've watched some of my other videos, you know that I'm working in my garage to try to get it where it can function for me and my family. This one should be a quick video. It's pretty cut and dry. I got a blank wall, so I will put up some Gladiator panels to be able to get some stuff stored on the wall and to be able to decompress some of the chaos that I've got going on behind the camera that I'm not going to show you quite yet. I'll be putting up a bunch of these Gladiator channels. I'm going to be putting up the Gladiator GearWall. Stuff goes up pretty simple. You just got to identify your studs and then mount them to the wall. So let's get started.
You like movies about gladiators?
Man, Airplane was such a great movie. I'm installing multiple rows of the GearTrack on this wall, and I wanted to lay my first line across the garage to set the foundation for the rest. This is like the backbone of the garage's new spine. To begin, I am marking the stud locations on the GearTrack so that I can pre-drill and install the screws. This is the first time I am using the Gladiator branded white screws, and I didn't know how well they would drive in, so I'm starting out cautious. I take extra time with the first track because it sets the path for the rest of the tracks down the line. I don't think that it is coming through on the video, but I am using a laser level to ensure that the path is straight and true. Even though I am using the laser, I double check the level throughout. You should be putting 2 screws into the track at each stud location to ensure that you have the sturdiest installation. To make my straight cuts on the track, I mark the cut line in location, and it is a really easy cut on the miter saw. Now it's time to put up the Gladiator GearWall panels. This is my first time installing these, but they go up just as easy as the tracks. Like the tracks, I am pre-drilling this first one. We're going to ensure this thing is level and exactly where I want it, because moving it later involves a lot of apologizing to the drywall. The difference between the tracks and the panels are the number of screws needed, and I place the screw into each slot at every stud location. That's 4 screws per stud per panel. By the time I'm done, this wall won't just be organized, it'll be structural. These panels slot together with a tongue and groove attachment. It's smooth and it's surprisingly easy. Assuming you didn't mount the first panel at a 45-degree angle, which we didn't, I checked. You slot them together, make sure they stay tight, and then start throwing more screws in. I have a few obstacles to work around on this side of the panel wall. I have some window trim on the left and my irrigation system control on the right. The irrigation system that broke a pipe within the first 2 months of living here, flooding my front yard while I was out of town for work. Never mind that right now, let's get back on task. I used a jigsaw for notching out the small cuts and my miter saw for the larger ones. Someday I might be able to use a jigsaw to cut a straight line, but today is not that day. If you're enjoying this video, please consider taking the time to like and subscribe. It helps with the mysterious YouTube algorithm and helps motivate me to keep documenting my projects. Every time you hit that button, a server somewhere tells the world, hey, look at this guy with his wall panels. Otherwise, I'm just a guy talking to a tripod in a very organized garage while my neighbors wonder why I'm taking pictures of plastic totes. Each track should also start and end at a stud so that the ends are secured. If you don't, then the ends will be a weak point for load bearing. I have one spot here where I mismeasured and the ends didn't meet at the stud. I'm not worried about it though, since I have a shelf that bridges the gap and anchors into the studs on each side, so it shouldn't be an issue for my installation. Some of these gear tracks have been mounted in a few other garages before being put up here, so they have some extra holes from the previous installs. There might be a chance that they are weaker than a fresh one, and I will be the first one to let you know if one of them self-destructs. I had a few extra gear tracks, so I cut them down and mounted them to the side of my holiday tote storage system. The bottom shelf is where my wife is going to keep her reloads for the paper towel holder. Now for the good stuff, loading it up with all my garage junk. If you were wondering why I went with Gladiator Garage, the only thing that I can say is that I started collecting bits and pieces of it over the years. I would pick up tracks and cabinets as I would find them secondhand or on sale, much like Pokemon. I can't tell you if it is the best system in the market, but I've had some of these pieces for 15 years and for the most part they have held up. Well, except for this cabinet. If you watched my workbench video, you might recognize old Rusty, and this is where he is going to live until the bottom falls out. As I was loading up the wall, I liked the synergy I was seeing with my Ryobi garden implements and decided to lean into it and create a charging station. I had 3D printed these green trays for the batteries for my Scatus tool wall and decided that they would work better here on this wall with the implements that they power. We're going full DIY engineer mode here. No fancy mounting brackets, just the humble zip tie. I'm securing the power strip and the battery trays directly to the mesh Gladiator shelf. It's simple, it's sturdy, and it's a lot cheaper than anything you'd buy in a store. And boom, the charging station is born. Some of these pieces of wood have been carried from coast to coast to multiple states and have been in my possession for 15 years. I am really hoping that this house is the place where I actually put them to good use. And now the finished product. That's a wrap. I'm happy with the outcome. The wall looks a lot better. I'm really excited with how well this charging station turned out over here for my Ryobi garden implements. I think it's slick and very functional.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I have a lot more storage now. That is great. And I guarantee you this is the nicest this wall is going to look. Once the video is over, I'm sure I'm going to load up this wall with everything I can for storage. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching the video. Remember, if I can do this, so can you. So until next time, Badger out.